So the Department of Interior, as you probably know, just okayed the use of e-mountain bikes on existing bike trails in national parks. You could argue that bike advocacy groups like us have been working on that for more than 20 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, something like that happens. So unfortunately, we don't get that sort of instant, hey, we just sold 1 million units. We get the, hey, let's work on this now, and sometime in the future, we might have a really positive business environment for bikes. And that's our job at People for Bikes. People for Bikes is the industry's trade association. We're the cycling association for 1.3 million riders around the country. And we have a foundation that takes money and builds bike infrastructure. We also work on programs. Now, I'm going to talk really big picture here. One of our major points that we're addressing over the next few years is the future of bicycling at its core, and that's kids. And I've got to tell you guys, it's not good right now. I don't want to be doom and gloom, but since 2010, when we first started analyzing this stuff, we have been seeing a steady decline in steady decline in youth participation of a little over 1.5% per year. So that means now, and this is by the way the last time we reported the study, it's the same for 2018 roughly. That means now 15% fewer kids are riding than there were 9 years ago or so. So that's an issue. Safe Routes to Schools program. When I was a kid, we weren't measuring it because I'm really old, but I'm sure you guys, some of you guys that are old like me can remember most kids went to school by walking, bus, or bike. Now it's about 13%. Everybody else gets driven to school. 87% of kids get driven to school. So we were charged by our chairman and our board, which is indeed made up of industry folks, to arrest this issue, or at least begin to understand this issue, because we know there's a lot of good things happening out there. There's Trips for Kids, there's Little Bellas, there's NICA, there's all of the things that you guys know at the local level as well, grassroots stuff. But what we really want to come up with is a cyclist's life cycle. Somebody, somewhat tactfully I guess, called this a diapers to diplomas program. So you start as a little kid, you go all the way through, we don't lose you when you start to drive, we don't lose you at all these stops along the way, and you become a cyclist for life. Now, some of the things that are working are things that are on dirt. Dirt is good. Kids like dirt. Dirt is not as, shall we say, oppressive a riding environment for a lot of kids. So we do see things like the blip, BMX. USA BMX had about 67,000 registrants in 2018. That's great. Not to take away from USA BMX, they're actually core to this panel that works on this program that we're talking about. It's still not a huge number of kids, and that's the challenge. If we could take that and replicate it and put it in places all over the country, that would make a huge difference. Programs like NICA, you're seeing off-road racing be a pretty good thing. The thing that's really declining is just riding in the streets. And why is that? So there's a couple things going on. First of all, there's the safety issue. I'm not talking about unsafe places to ride, because that is, frankly, the core of the issue. It's as you know, most of the places we live now, there aren't sufficient safe infrastructure environments for kids to ride. But there's a perception that the kid is going to be at risk in other ways, shall we say. So we've actually kind of moved from being helicopter parents. You've all heard the term helicopter parents. Now we have what they call snowplow parents, who just want to move every single obstruction or every challenge out of the way of the kid so that they aren't faced with any adversity. And that's a thing. So when you do look at the data, and it's pretty well reported that since the 70s, rates of child abduction and issues like that have actually been declining pretty significantly. So it is, in that sense, it is actually safer out there for the kids. But you have this perception issue. Fair enough. Perception is reality. I mentioned the infrastructure issue. Our main mission and our focus, shall we say, is to really get people riding more often by creating safe environments. So a lot of people say, hey, what do you do about distracted drivers? Well, let's build a safer riding environment so that's not as much of an issue. That's kind of our solution to a lot of different things. And it works, and I'll tell you why. We took a group of city planners and architects from several cities in the United States to Copenhagen. Anyone been to Copenhagen? Okay, Copenhagen is ridiculous in terms of its bicycle infrastructure. It wasn't always that way. They had crowded downtown areas crowded with cars as little as 40 years ago, but they made a decision to create a bike infrastructure as a priority. So we took 150, picture this, right? So me and 4 or 5 other people in a city with 150 American business people, most of whom don't ride, and of course we did use e-bikes for a lot of this, and we're taking them on a school excursion through the city of Copenhagen. The first day was frankly kind of a bit of a shit show. But as it went on, the second day we started noticing the bikes were missing. We're like, what's going on? Where is everybody? They're supposed to be in a seminar like you guys are now, listening to us speak. What they were doing, they were actually out riding. And we thought, boom, right there. That's proof of concept. You create an infrastructure, and you put people who don't ride, and all of a sudden after day one, they feel safe, and they're out doing it. It was great. This is one that's sort of a reflex action a lot of people have. Screen time is bad. All right, the generations that we're talking about, what I call the iGen or the Gen Z and younger folks, are native to the internet. They've always grown up with screens. Yes, time in front of a digital device is bad and is probably detracting from bicycling. However, I challenge you folks that are on the cutting edge of bike technology that they don't really see a difference between their analog world and their digital world. So just put that in your processor for a sec and think about what that could mean to what you're doing. And I'll return to that issue in a second. All right, how do we fix it? So what we've decided to do as a group, once again, Association of Bike Businesses, is we have a program manager that is funded by USA Cycling and People for Bikes. That person is developing pilot studies in a city so that we can quantify what is actually working. We think we know, but we need to measure because you can't manage what you can't measure. So we can't replicate it just hoping that this is the way forward. What we've discovered from various programs is bike parks, and I mean dirt, and I mean asphalt, and I mean what we call pocket parks that are in neighborhoods. You probably have some of them here in the immediate vicinity. Work. Families love them, and that's the key point. Families love them, not just kids. And they create a network when they're connected to multi-use paths and infrastructure that becomes the core of recreation in the city. That's very important. When you go to a softball field or a baseball field, you don't ever say, that's the spot where all the baseball players go. So why do we say, well, that's the spot where that's for the bike guys and gals. That's for them. We need to create an environment that's a network that everybody can access and make it comfortable for the family to participate in. We do know, as we said, that the full family involvement, and Troy talked about this. She talked about when you have events, and this has always been the case in the mountain bike space as well, it's not just 1 or 2 people from the family coming. They come for the weekend, they camp, they go, they do the whole thing. Why can't we create new cyclists or returning cyclists out of that audience? You know, mum, dad may not have ridden since they were kids. We just did the exercise. Now there's a good reason to ride again, and maybe, and probably, they're going to want an e-bike. Any questions about this aspect of it before I get on to the sort of psychology of it all? All right, good. All right, here's some hard numbers. Okay, this one is a little bit depressing. That top line there, which is below 30%, is the number of kids that will ride a bike this year at least once. So less than 30% of kids in the United States will even get on a bike this year. That's not good. As you can see, there's a little bit of a blip. So, as I said, we're working on a number of programs around this. A part of this is engagement with the industry, and my next set of slides will just talk really quickly about one thing that we're doing. But I know that you guys have your own ways of addressing this issue, and I encourage you to do so in the context of electric bicycles. The psychology of it all. The psychology of it all is that there is a huge barrier to riding a bike if you're a newbie, and that's basically a safety issue. Typically, not always, but typically, customer goes into a bike shop, sales associate wheels a bike out, says to the customer, here you go, have a nice time. Without second guessing, customer goes out, rides up here. I don't know if that's a safe road or not, but they have a crappy experience and then they hang the bike up. They put it away, then ride it again. What if there was a way to connect the rider with a positive experience from the beginning and to connect them with other riders? So, thanks to our friends here at Bosch, we have been doing exactly that. Creating, or let's just say overcoming barriers for used-to-be riders, new riders, folks that are just interested but they're very concerned about their situation. And Ridespot enables you to do that. What is Ridespot? Ridespot is a mapping app. You can download it from Google Play or your Apple Store right now. It's free. And it's also a social media platform specifically for bikers. I want to underline this in triple bold. This is not Strava. This is the complete opposite of Strava. No one cares how often you ride. No one cares how fast you are. This is about getting more people out there enjoying what we're doing and overcoming those barriers for selling bikes. I'll go through this real quick because time is of the essence, but we did a lot of research with folks. We discovered that the safety issue really is the core one. This is basically what it looks like. So, when I go to Lynn's bike shop now, instead of wheeling out the door, I take a photo of a QR code or some other item within the store, and lo and behold, all of the routes that are suggested to me by this store are on my phone. I can print out these routes. I can be given a printed card so that I can take it with me. And the idea is that the sales associate can now arm the customer with an appropriate ride for them. So I just bought a bike here, or I'm actually using it here. Cruiser ride, what's the best cruiser ride? What's the best mountain bike ride around here? Think of the potential for a guy like me from Boulder, Colorado, who has no idea where the nearest trailhead is and wants to rent a bike and go spin around. I can use this now to do it. The other cool thing I can do with it is actually run challenges. I can create, repeat customers out of various events. I could run virtual demos. I can highlight partners like, here's a cool coffee shop. Here's a great offer that we have from another company that's involved on this platform. Some of the features. There is a social network, so you can upload it to Facebook, Instagram really quickly, start telling stories with your friends. So as a user, I can also use this like a mini sort of Facebook for my community. So I could say, let's say I'm a dad and I want to do Wednesday morning rides out to the local bike park. Here's an opportunity. We're leaving at 7:30 from this point here. Kids get to come along. Great opportunity to network and develop a better cycling community. Once again, on routes that are low barrier to entry and take away the scary tactic. A lot of details here. I just want to get to the one that shows you this. Okay. You can use this for anything. It was designed for retailers, but you can use it for an advocacy group. You can use it for your brand. You can use it for your local, scouting group, whatever it might be. You can order these cards as an affiliate on the application, on the website. We do not charge a premium for them. This is a service for the industry. We are the industry's association. They are printed and they come out to you. Or you can simply download them as a PDF. Or you can just simply have this wherever you need it to be on a monitor, and customers can use it that way. And so that is part of our solution. That's some of the POP I was talking about. Maps, so people in the community know where your store is, or your advocacy group, or your business. right now is about 800. We started this piloting about 2 years ago. Well, this time last year we had about 350. Is that right, Claudia? I think that's about 350. It's just gone off. We started with sort of the A team of dealers because we recognized that the industry is, shall we say, somewhat copycat. And it's exploded. There's more than 100,000 rides on this app now that are published. We've got about another 90 that we haven't published yet. For those of you, there is an e-bike overlay, so you can see there's selections you can make up the top. We're working on things that are e-bike friendly. So obviously there's a little bit of curating to be done there, but you can put an overlay there to see what's e-bike okay and what's e-bike not okay.